Yeah. Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Let's get it. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam. John on the mic, very flat too. Keep you updated, that's what we do. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam.
Yo, what to do, everybody? It's your boy, John Altidor with Pro Fan Sports Podcast, back at you with another one of my boys, Vlad and Barry. Vlad's not here today. Vlad, miss you again, man, but we're going to have to rock without you. And today we got a special guest in the building. You know, we couldn't do a podcast today. This is Mondays after the Super Bowl. We couldn't do a podcast today without bringing somebody from, you know, the winning city's team to the platform. And today we got Mr. Charles Penn from the Kingdom Cast podcast. You know, I'm sure you're very happy today, man. How you doing, Charles?
I'm doing great, man. Life can't be any better right now after last night. You know, I'm just soaking in the moment. You know, still smell a little bit like victory champagne, but hey, it's all good. So.
No, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. It's good to have you on here. Congrats on on the win last night and winning the Super Bowl championship and bringing the Lombardi Trophy back to Kansas City. So, much respect to you guys on a great game and a well played game. You guys definitely earned it and went out and got it. So, congrats to your Chiefs, my man.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
Charles, man, clearly y'all got something going on out there in Kansas City. This is the second Super Bowl y'all winning in the last 4 years. And, you guys have hosted the AFC Championship for the last 5 years straight, which is a record for the NFL right now for a team to host the championship game. As we were talking earlier that we're from Massachusetts. So, there's only one other place that can say they've seen, such things. And, it got to be the New England Patriots, man. How you guys feeling, having such a team and, such a guy at the helm, at the quarterback position, taking you guys, to great heights every year. How does that feel?
We're just grateful to have this all come together. It started with Andy Reid coming back here after we was in a dark place for a second there for during our last regime with Pioli and Ty Haley, Romeo Crennel and all that. We had your former guy Matt Castle as the quarterback, so those were some dark times. But as soon as Andy Reid got there, he changed the culture right away. After the first year, we've been winning consistently since then. And then next up, we brought in one of the best GMs in the National Football League, and not the best GM right now, Brett Veach. Brett Veach, starting out, his first draft was a little bit rough, but he was one of the guys that wanted to trade up for Patrick Mahomes, and from there, that's all she wrote. You finally got the quarterback. Instead of going through these retreads we was going through previously. Alex Smith, Castle, guys like that. Guys that can keep you in the game, they can manage the game, but guys that wouldn't be able to push you over the top. And then now, we got Patrick Mahomes here as our quarterback, a guy that, to a lot of people have said that we ain't seen this before from him. This guy has gone to a conference championship games or a Super Bowl ever since he started in the league. And that's unheard of right now. So all three of those elements there, it's all come together well for us. And we're just very fortunate and grateful to have this era of Chiefs football right now.
Absolutely, man. And, like we were saying earlier, you guys have got a guy that pretty much every game, you're still in it, regardless of what the score is, whatever time is, I remember the game between the Bills and Kansas City, how y'all were going back and forth, and it just didn't matter what was going on. You knew that you guys was going to go down there and score if given the chance. And, I remember we used to have a guy just like that, man. So Patrick Mahomes became, the first black QB to win 2 Super Bowls, and he has 2 Super Bowl MVPs as well. Talk to us about Patrick Mahomes and the job he was able to do, because I know you guys were pretty young at receiver. Of course, you guys have Travis Kelce, but to make things happen at the receiver position for you guys anyway, how you guys feeling about that, and what do you see it, being moving forward?
Yeah, some people they were shocked and disappointed that we traded Tyreek Hill, but those some of the tough moves you gotta make sometimes to continue to have success. And Tyreek, we would love to still have him here in Kansas City. He's one of the most dangerous weapons in the league still. But when we had him here, teams figured out that we was basically top heavy at the wide receiver core. Like if you take away Kelsey and Tyreek somehow, there was nobody else on that team that could really get open consistently, and that was an issue. So we had no choice but to trade Tyreek, and now we got a balanced group of wide receivers, whether it's veterans and young guys. So with that being said, it also made Patrick a better quarterback too. So he had to learn how to spread the ball around a little more, because he started noticing those defenses were playing that shell coverage and taking away his 2 favorite weapons. So I think overall it made him a better quarterback this year. And you saw that our offensive philosophy changed as well to give all the guys in the receiving core opportunities to make plays. So it wasn't just a consistent number 1 receiver. I think it was a bunch of number 2s and number 3s that just play their roles well and knew which routes to run best and all that good stuff. So
Yeah, I think I agree with you, man. I don't know. There's one thing I can compare it to, having somebody like you know, what's his name? Tyreek Hill, man. And sometimes, guys can be so talented and it becomes a detriment, to your quarterback and the team. And I can remember when the Patriots had Randy Moss, with Tom Brady there. And that year, what, '07, we lost in the Super Bowl. You know, I feel like Tom Brady got so used to having him, just so used to throwing it up there, and Randy's gonna be at the end of that thing, and make the catch, and I think at the end we got figured out that you shut down Randy, and the offense was gonna stall a little bit, and I feel like Brady just wasn't utilizing everything else. He was either utilizing Randy or West, and we got figured out in the Super Bowl, and that pass rush was crazy as well. And I feel like, with you guys and Tyreek Hill, Patrick became a little predictable at times. And, I remember whenever we played you guys in the playoffs, it was like, hey, you bracket off Tyreek Hill and we'll see what Patrick Mahomes got left. You know what I'm saying? It's like you take those 2 guys out and it's not much else he was going to do. Now, he was going to score regardless, but it's just the volume and the amount of times he was able to do it. So that is one thing I was able to see this year, where he's spreading out the ball and he doesn't care where it's going. As long as the guy is open, he's throwing it out there. And, a guy like Travis, he really doesn't care. He's just out there trying to win. So, these receivers, they can be demanding. And when you have a guy like that at the position, it can be a detriment. So I'm glad that, we're seeing the involvement. Actually, I'm seeing Patrick kind of has a real good relationship with Tom Brady. Tom Brady just had a podcast, after he retired, and Patrick Mahomes made an appearance on there. Did you think that, Patrick going against the Patriots the last few years, with Brady at the helm, kind of helped him become who he is right now?
yeah, it dates back to when we played you guys in the AFC Championship game, and you guys got guys in overtime. And after that game, Tom Brady found Patrick, in a tunnel somewhere, and he went up to him and said, you're doing it the right way. Keep doing what you're doing. And right then and there, Tom Brady knew that Patrick Mahomes was basically going to be the next one. And you guys seeing it now. You mentioned the recent interview with him, Jim Gray, and Larry Fitzgerald. And they talk about, how they got a close relationship now, so I think it stems from that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Now, obviously, we're here to talk about the Super Bowl, man. Congratulations again. What are your thoughts on the game? And you guys started off a little slow there, and then you guys figured that thing out pretty quickly. Specifically talking about these two wide open touchdowns you guys got in the second half with Tony and I forgot the other dude, but
Sky Moore.
Sky Moore.
There you go. There you go. But I was watching this thing and I'm like, they're on a whole other level, man. So talk to us about the game and what you saw, the adjustments that were made, and how'd you guys come out on top, man?
Okay, well, first off, I do want to say this. Like, Jalen Hurts is a dog. He's a truth. Like, if y'all still doubting Jalen Hurts after that performance, then y'all don't know what quarterbacking is. Y'all know how to evaluate quarterbacks. So I just want to get that out the way real quick. But I will say this: Steve Spagnuolo, he didn't call a bad game, really. It's just that we had a few mental mistakes where we had some silly penalties. Guys not knowing where to line up at, and it kept their drives alive a little bit. But hey, it is what it is. It's part of football. Eagles did a good job taking advantage of it. But I think the adjustment was made is that we started bringing more of those 6-man, 7-man fronts pre-snap. Just to try to confuse Jalen a little bit. Make him think he's seeing one thing, but it'll be something different. And I think that helped kind of slow them down a bit in the second half. And it gave the offense an opportunity to get back in the game because I told a few Chiefs fans at halftime, I said, look, the Eagles doing a good job keeping time possessions. They basically had the ball the entire second quarter because our defense scored. And, the defense had to go back out there, back out there and try to stop them. So, like, Patrick barely had the ball. I think we only had like 5 snaps in the second quarter or so. It was a low snap count. I know that.
Yeah, it was like 7 minutes. They had the ball in the first half, and the Eagles had it for 21 minutes in the first half or something like that. Yeah, it was insane. The difference between the two teams, right?
But I told everybody, I said, look, we was down 10 before when we beat the Niners in the Super Bowl. And look, we're never out of a game as long as we got 15 back there. And I also reminded people we like one of the best third quarter teams in the league. And the proof was in the pudding right then and there. Like when we scored right at the gate coming out that halftime, and which we usually do at a high success rate, when we did that, I'm like, cool, we just need one stop and we back in this thing completely. Like we can win this game. And what the Eagles had a hard time with was motions. Like every time we use a motion, they would guess one way, but it'll be something different. Because what I saw on film was that I saw Darius Slay and a few safeties, they was pointing out where the play was going to go at, or they was going to think like a certain route was going to be ran in this area, but it was the other way. You know what I mean? So, and what I found interesting was like you guys mentioned the touchdowns with Tony and Sky Moore, right? Andy Reid calls those plays corn dog, and it was the same thing on both ends. And the Jaguars had ran that against the Eagles in the regular season game, and it worked. So the Chiefs coaching staff noticed that, and they decided to use it to their advantage in the Super Bowl. So this is some of the adjustments that we made right then and there. Like they figured out quickly that the Eagles have a hard time with motion pre-snap. So
right, like they say, it's a copycat league, the NFL. Like if one team sees something that works against another team, you best believe when they watch the tape and watch the film, there are going to be other teams that follow suit and that do the same thing and put that in their game plan and playbook for that game. So, no, I totally agree with you on that, Charles. Like that was certainly, a great job of the, Chiefs game planning and really studying the film and knowing how to attack the weakness of the Eagles defense, particularly in their secondary.
Yeah, I mean, I think they always say the smartest teams are going to win, and Andy Reid always fields, one of the smartest teams out there year in and year out. And those players you're talking about, it's baffling to me that there was no adjustments made, because you were talking about Darius Slay. What they were doing was, they were switching with the safeties. Every time, there was a motion, the corner would replace a safety and the safety would, roam with the other guy. And, to not be able to figure out that they're running the exact same play, just on the opposite ends of, just on the opposite side was like, man, no wonder it looks so easy. I'm like, how are they getting open? When it's in the game, it's kind of hard to figure out because everything's going so fast. But after you watch it, again, and you've seen the replay, you're like, man, they really just ran the same plays. And I remember watching Tony, man. What a signing, man. Coming from the Giants, what a freaking signing. Because that route, he ran it perfectly. I'm like, he faked the shit out of that dude and ran right back there and walked right into that end zone, man. I'm like, how the hell was he so open,
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful play design, man. Because right then and there, like again, like in that red zone, I saw Slade when Tony went in motion. They was thinking Tony was just gonna be there to kind of get in the way so they could free up Travis, but that was not the case. As soon as the ball snapped, Tony just ran like a little whip route and it was easy money, easy walk in. But there's one more thing that also helped us. The Eagles couldn't run the ball. You saw that Jalen Hurts was the leading rusher. And that's what we wanted before the game started. Like, if Jalen Hurts is their leading rusher, we could beat them. Like, Miles Sanders did nothing. Gamble didn't do nothing to run game, and Boston Scott was barely out there. So,
yeah, he had like one good run in where he juked Boston Scott juked like two people and stuff like that and got like a first down. But besides that, like you said, the running backs were non-factors, and that was the surprising and shocking thing to me is that the Eagles didn't really, run the football more because that's what, their offense is known for, and that's what they're, best at doing is, since they have the best running game in the league is, their offense pretty much revolves around mainly being able to run the football in their ground game and, being able to, run those RPOs and all the stuff they like to do, running the ball. So I was definitely shocked when, when they weren't running it as much and they really couldn't establish and get their running game going at all. And that, like you said, that was certainly a sign that, was good for the Chiefs. And, that really gave them a chance to win when they couldn't be able to, run the football as well as they normally do. So I wanted to ask you this question. So I was thinking, what are your thoughts on, the play calling of Andy Reid and that offensive coordinator and Eric, I forget his last name, but
Eric Bieniemy.
Eric
Bieniemy, right. I as far as what they've done, with Patrick Mahomes in that offense and how the offense has evolved. Can you just tell us, what I'm saying, about the importance of those two guys, particularly Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator that for the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's gone on record that Andy Reid has mentioned that Eric Bieniemy costs 52% and he costs 48%, but I personally think it's the other way around. But at the end of the day, Eric Bieniemy is the glue of that coaching staff, and you want to know why? It's because we run the ball a little more in comparison to when Andy Reid was in Philly, and that has helped Andy Reid come up with 2 Super Bowls now. And of course, we got Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's the ultimate equalizer. But you saw it last night. Pacheco and McKinnon, they combined for 119 yards rushing, I believe. We was able to get like almost 8 yards a carry against their run defense. And before the game started, the Eagles' run defense was like middle of the pack. They was like 18th. So their D-line strength was more of the pass rush, and they couldn't get anything off. We didn't give up a sack. The only time they hit Patrick was like when he was past the line of scrimmage, or when he just got the ball. When Patrick got the ball, I mean, the play's already dead. Like, it's already a completion, So, but yeah, Eric Bieniemy, Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, they just been on point, man. there's been times where Patrick and EB had a little disagreements on the sideline, whatever. But I think it's just two guys being competitive and wanting to win. You know what I mean? So like when you want to win, you're gonna have disagreements at times. I mean, you guys have seen it with Belichick and Brady. It wasn't always peaches and cream there in New England with those two. They had disagreements too. It's just all part of football. So
Yeah, for sure. It is, part of the game, and things like that happen, especially when you have a team that is really competitive and not really has high standards and expectations for themselves and expects nothing but greatness and excellence, and and expects to win every game that they're in, and wants to always be able to put their best foot forward anytime they're on the field. There's gonna be sometimes where guys are gonna butt heads with the coaches, and you know and voice their frustration. So that definitely happens from time to time, but certainly winning solves all that, and particularly with the way that you guys were able to win yesterday and perform in the second half. John, you said you had a question?
Yeah, I mean, kind of reminds me of a guy we actually just hired back on the Patriots staff, Bill O'Brien. One of his claims to fame is him yelling with Tom Brady on the sideline back and forth. And when he was here, we had one of the top offenses in the league, man. And I guess back to Eric, man. I'm not sure what's going on. I've seen Andy Reid make a comment that he would like to see Eric be able to go somewhere where he can do his thing and run his show. And I'm sure you guys don't mind keeping him every year. And these guys in the NFL are not seeing him, I guess, as a head coaching candidate. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I think race has a little bit to do with it. But another thing is people really don't think Eric Bieniemy is contributing to the team like that. They really think it's just 100% Andy Reid, and that's not really the case. Andy Reid, he's gotten a little older now, and he's willing to let some of the coaches get a little more input as he's gotten older. And people just don't believe him for whatever reason. But I kind of do know the reason. But at the same time, you got all these other guys. Like it wasn't an issue when Matt Nagy was here the first time and he got hired to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. They never said any of these things about him in regards to, being under Andy Reid. And then also Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson, he got an opportunity after he was here for 1 year, and he led the Eagles to a Super Bowl title. Mm-hmm. And then now you got Mike Kafka. He's in New York, and he's being listed as a head coaching candidate somewhere else. So, I mean, there you have it right there. So, I mean, I hope EB does get his opportunity to be a head coach, but, we just got to wait and see on that.
That was a beautiful breakdown of that situation right there.
It was.
Yeah, I mean, you listen to all those guys, and it's like, they talk about, bringing up the race card and stuff, and it's like, I mean,
yeah, I mean, it is what it is,
It's called a spade, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's,
yeah, man. I mean, real facts.
Absolutely, man. And I mean, like I said, I'm sure you guys don't mind keeping him year in and year out, and I'm sure he doesn't mind winning Super Bowls and going into the playoffs every year. But he's one of those guys where it's like, man, he really deserves to be somewhere and creating his own culture and creating a legacy for himself. And for some reason, maybe he's not making too much of a fuss, because I can't really tell you of a time I remember Eric, saying too much in the media. Is that a thing for you guys, in the media for Kansas City?
I mean, he has talked quite a bit to us in the local media. It's just that when we lose, he be getting the blame. He's like the first dude that gets blame on the coaching staff, and he hardly ever gets credit at wins, and it's just silly. It makes no sense. Like if you're gonna blame somebody, blame everybody. It's a team sport. It's a team. Everybody has a piece in wins and losses, But Andy Reid would not have this much success if EB wasn't a part of it. That's just me.
Facts.
So, and I
Absolutely.
think EB
No,
and
that's
EB and
facts, man.
EB, my fault. And EB
Okay.
is not being like rah like that, because then if he is kind of rah like that, the media is going to spin it into something negative if he is like that. So.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of like a Tony Dungy. He's just not a guy that's gonna be talking too much. But when he does talk, you see he knows what he's talking about, man. I'd be remiss if I didn't, talk about another aspect of the game. Yesterday, obviously, what was the score? 35-38. That was the ending score to the Super Bowl, and it was a beautiful Super Bowl, man, and the one controversy in the game was that last drive, with Kansas City and with Bradbury against Schuster or
Juju Smith. Yeah,
Juju
yeah.
Smith, and they threw that flag, in the last 2 minutes of the game, and pretty much that was it, and you guys were smart enough to run that clock out and get that field goal and get up out of there. What did you think of that play? Do you think that, it was fair for the official to throw that flag there? Or, I mean, obviously you guys are in Kansas City, so I'm sure you guys don't mind, but, everybody was making a stink about it. How'd you feel about it, and how the game ended?
My thing is this: if the player came out and said that he held, then what the heck we still arguing about? Like, you see on three different angles. The first angle, he grabs Juju's jersey with his right hand, and then on the spin around, he grabs Juju with his left hand. I mean, it's a clear holding. And if people want to come up and tell me like, you can be physical at the line of scrimmage, yes, you can be physical, you can touch them, but you can't hold. There's a difference. So it was the right call. And if Bradbury says it's the right call, and I mean, it seems like he knows the rules. He knows what he did wrong. He clearly said himself after the game, like, he was hoping that he would have got away with it, but he didn't get away with it. So it is what it is, man.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you on that. And I mean, it definitely was holding. I mean, there's certainly no debate about that. I mean, anybody who saw that play could certainly, in clear as day, be able to tell that is holding. I think the issue that people are having and the biggest problem as far as, why, of that holding call was not only the timing of it, but that there was, the consistency of the officiating. Like, there was no defensive holding calls prior to that call, in the game, and it looked like the refs were letting them play and letting them be, physical. And I think the players, realized and adjusted to that on both teams. Like, okay, the refs aren't gonna call anything. The refs are gonna let us go, get away with the little, tug and a little grab, and and let us be physical with these receivers. So if they're calling it like that the first 58 minutes of the game, then you got to keep that same energy and keep the same, kind of, officiating for the last 2 minutes of the game, because it was, a phenomenal Super Bowl, one of the best, Super Bowls we've had in recent years. And you just hate to see, as fans, whether you're a Chiefs Eagles fan or just, an NFL football fan, a great game like that come down to one play, to a penalty, and and to the refs determining the outcome of the game. I think that's the issue, the problem that a lot of people, including myself, have, what I'm saying, with that call being made. Like, we get, yeah, it was holding, but if you're gonna call holding there, then I mean, just make sure you're calling that same call the first 58 minutes of the game. And I feel like people would have respected it a lot more had that been the case. And it wasn't. So that's where, everybody was voicing their, frustration with, with that call, and saying, that, it shouldn't have been called at that point of the game.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. You know what I mean? On the inconsistency of the refs, because there was some, inconsistency with the officiating the entire night, both ways.
Mhm.
And like earlier in the game, we saw Bradbury on Juju and he held Juju. It should have been PI. There was no call there.
Right, right,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. In our end, I mean, I'm sure we got away with some holding here and there.
Holding on
I
every
mean,
play.
yeah, yeah.
Literally.
Both
That's
sides
true.
both
You
sides
can
had some
call it
calls
off.
missed.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, man, is I wish we could have a game, a big game where we're not going away with like, man, the refs, came in that situation and did something, that they wasn't supposed to. And it seems like, people talk about, games being rigged, the script, we were making jokes about we were making jokes about the script all week, man. And it's unfortunate because, as Patriots fans, we understand that because we've had success for a long time. So these things were on our end for the longest time. You know what I'm saying? And we understand it. It's really not fair because at the end of the day, like our team won, so who really gives a shit? But it's just like, man, we like one game where we're not questioning, the officiating. Another thing too, I saw that people were talking about was the ball wasn't a catchable ball, so couldn't they have like picked that thing up? You know, I'm somebody that likes to see drama in the games. And I mean, as if my team was in it, I don't want to see no drama. I want to see them, I want to see them blow blow the doors off these mugs. You know what I'm saying? But when
Yeah.
I'm watching it objectively, I want to see, drama unfold. Like I said, that Bills and Kansas City game was one of the best games I've seen in a long time, just because
Facts.
just drama back and forth, back and forth. You know what I'm saying? It's like so freaking entertaining. And
Mhm.
needless to say, it was still a really good Super Bowl. One of the highest scoring Super Bowls in a while. And both teams played a masterful game. I think there was some lapses in decision on you guys the first half and then on the Eagles in the second half. So you guys traded scenarios there. But nevertheless, man, it was a great game. It sucked that it ended like that, with you guys kneeling to get the clock down. But regardless, man, the Eagles had the ball majority of the time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to think about that too. You guys had the ball a majority of the time, and you guys should have did what you had to do. And I feel like their defense didn't do anything they were doing. The
There
whole
were no show. They
like
show.
at this point, you let a team drop 38 on you. You don't really have much excuses, man. And
Right. You don't deserve to win a Super Bowl.
you
Facts.
really don't. And Jalen Hurts, you drop 35 points, you should be able to win a game. And we've been there on that side too. Last time we played
Damn
the
right.
Eagles in the Super Bowl,
Damn right.
already threw for 500 yards, and we still end up losing the game. It is what it is, man. It was a great,
Frustrating. Right.
yeah, for sure, man. I think my last question is, man, I mean, you guys have a parade coming on Wednesday. I believe that's the 15th of February on Wednesday. So I'm sure you're gonna go there and enjoy that thing. What do you
Yeah.
see for the team, in the draft? I know that's a ways away, but you guys just won the Super Bowl. How can you guys get any better than you already are?
yeah, we got endless options here. As a matter of fact, we hosting a draft in a couple months, so yeah, that's gonna be special. That's why the Super Bowl. That's part of the reason why the Super Bowl victory is special. I mean, you got the draft coming here these next few months, and you got to see Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs all over the city. When all these other fans come in here. But as far as improving the team, I haven't looked to it too deep yet because I'm still enjoying this. But I'll say this: we can definitely improve on the trenches, both sides of the ball. We can look at some tackles, improve depth in that area. And on our defensive end, we can improve at defensive tackle as well. Try to uh, get somebody alongside Chris Jones. Maybe try to look at somebody, get somebody better on that D line on that aspect. So That's the first area I'm pretty much looking at. I know another area we may be able to look at is Travis Kelce. I know he's getting older. He's still playing a high level. He's still the best at his position. But we are going to come to a point where we're going to have to look at the next guy. And I think within these next 2 years, we may have to start considering that. If we're in a position where we may be able to get a steal in this draft, I wouldn't mind going that route. But if it doesn't happen this year, I mean, surely it could happen next year. So there's just a few things, draft wise, what I'm looking at.
Absolutely. Barry,
No, for sure. Yes. So wanted to ask you, my friend, where do you think now that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes got another Super Bowl, Travis Kelce got another Super Bowl, where do you think those guys rank among the all-time greats in for QBs and for tight ends? And what's your favorite moment and favorite memory as a Chiefs fan?
It's kind of tough for me to rank these guys now. I mean, Kelce is like a little easier, well, with his credentials and all that. I think he's definitely discussion for top 3 all time. I mean, when it's all said and done, he may be the greatest all time. But I'll have to do a little more evaluating on that as far as that goes. Patrick, I think to me, honestly, this is like the best start of any quarterback in NFL history, basically. But I just need a few more years before I can really accurately rank Patrick Mahomes at this moment. So to me, I think it's a little early for me to rank Patrick Mahomes as far as like all-time quarterbacks, because we done seen a lot of great ones, even those who only won one Super Bowl. It's just that they had some unfortunate circumstances. They just didn't have the complete team, you know what I mean? Or they just didn't get it done for whatever reason. So, but I think if Patrick can continue at this pace, he'll definitely be in discussion for one of the greatest of all time. But I'm not ready to go there just yet with him. As far as like favorite memory as a Chiefs fan, man, we got a bunch of them. I think it's this Super Bowl because of the journey. Like there was some fan bases that was talking so much crap on us, man. Like especially the Bengals fans. The Bengals fans, I'm no longer acknowledging those fans. I'm like, look, they was talking about you ain't won the bowl with Joe Burrows here.
Burrow
Joe Burrow's not
Stadium,
Jimmy.
right?
Burrowhead,
Burrowhead.
all that nonsense, man. Well, I'm not Jimmy G. Joe Burrow's not Jimmy G. I heard all that nonsense, man. We finally beat them dudes. We finally beat them dudes, and then we went ahead and handled business against the Eagles. We had to deal with Eagles fans. Now they wasn't as annoying as Bengals fans, but we tried to tell them, look, we don't cut through number one defenses before. We done faced defensive lines like y'all's before, and we had no problem. And you guys saw it last night. Hassan Reddick didn't make an impact on the game. Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, the guy who Sue, like Josh Sweat, where was they at? Where were they at? So I think this is probably my favorite memory right now, just because of all the BS we had to go through with the trash talk and then like the media, picking the Bills and picking the Packers to do something. We had to hear the Chargers are going to win the AFC West again for like the 100th millionth time in a row before the season began. And we had to hear about the Broncos and bringing in Russell Wilson, all that nonsense. The Raiders, Devontae Adams, all that nonsense, man.
Right.
So
that bullshit, man. People talking that bullshit.
Russell Wilson.
Ignorance, man.
Yeah, man. So
that's
it for me.
Right. Talking out their ass.
That's crazy, man.
Like the fuck they talking about? Like
Russell Wilson.
Our names.
You
acting like some like bumming scrub team that hasn't won or done anything.
Right. Travis Kelce said it best. Put some respect on our name.
Listen, man. Well, what else he say? You gotta fight for your right? You
gotta
fight for your right, man. And I mean, I couldn't agree more because we've seen this. It's like, bro, if you can't get through it, shut up, man. You know what I'm saying? And listen, man, you said something I agree with a lot, And I think a lot of people make that mistake by stamping guys way too early. And I'm glad, you have that mindset around Patrick Mahomes because, to me, it's like, the guy's got 2 Super Bowls. There's a guy that got 5 more that just retired. So, like, well, what are we talking about? First of all, let the boy do his thing. He's only in his 6th year. He got a long time left to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, this thing is not easy. And, he's one of the most respected quarterbacks. I respect him, but I don't like him at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, he doesn't play for me, so I don't have to like him, but you got to respect him. You know what I'm saying? But Charles, man, like we discussed before, we're in Massachusetts, man, and there are some Chiefs fans here, that follow our program. So you want to tell the people where they can get to you and your program over there?
Okay, well, my personal social is at CPen for the win. That's the number 4, the win. So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. As far as my podcast, it's me, Boogie, Kylie, and Country. It's the 4 of us. So it's at Kingdom Cast with 2 Ks. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram on our socials, and you can listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, all the platforms, all streaming avenues. You can find us there.
Yes, sir. Charles, man.
I got one more question for my man, real quick. I since you from the KC area, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta ask you this question real quick. What's your favorite barbecue spot over there in the KC area?
OG Ali Gates, man. That's the guy right there. That's number 1 for me. Then it'll probably be Jack Steak number 2 and Casey Joe's number 3. That's my top 3.
Top 3? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I bet. So if I ever come to KC, I might definitely hit you up and have to go to one of those spots, or maybe even all 3 while I'm out there.
Hey, if y'all come through for the draft, I got y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, we'll hit you up. We'll let you know if we come through and pull up for the draft, right? Can get us some good KC barbecue and and check out that draft, no doubt. That would be dope.
Yes, sir. Charles, man, once again, thank you for coming on Pro Fan Sports Podcast, man. You've been it's been great talking to you and talking, sports. And again, man, congratulations for your team winning the Super Bowl. Y'all go and enjoy, that parade, man, and enjoy it and keep it going as long as possible because it doesn't last forever. Trust me,
We know, right?
We've had a run. I don't think yours is gonna end anytime soon, but it will end at some point. So cherish every single part of it, man. And congratulations, bro. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Most definitely. Thank you for having me on, fellas.
No problem.
No problem. You gonna be there Wednesday at that parade? You gonna be there?
Why would I not be there? Of course. I'm definitely pulling up.
All right, bet. Sounds good. Well, you enjoy yourself and have fun and enjoy the Super Bowl championship. With your team, and congrats again. It was definitely a pleasure. And awesome having you on. And yeah, we feel free to come back on anytime. You're welcome to come back on again sometime next football season.
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate y'all, man.
All right, brother. Have a good
one.
All right,
you take care, man. Have a good night. Thank you, Charles.
Yes, sir.
Nice meeting you, bro.
Yeah, it's nice meeting you fellas, man.
Hey, that
was great. That was a great pod, man. I had a great time.
It was dope, man.
Like we said, man, we just love talking sports over here, man, and we love bringing like-minded, individuals. Congrats on your podcast, man, and
man.
Going, you know what I'm saying, and hopefully we're all on somebody's ESPN at some point. You know what I mean? Because I know that's what we're trying to do here. So,
that's the goal, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, the real competitive. Yeah, for sure. You guys keep doing y'all thing too, man. Y'all got a good thing going on, man. I see y'all following, so.
Yes, sir.
Bro, appreciate that. Appreciate it. We'll do. Yes, sir. Same to you, bro.
All right, man. Y'all fellas take it easy.
All right, peace.
You too, man. Have a good night.
You too.
Yes, sir. That was Charles. From the I believe Kingdom Cast,
Kingdom Cast
right?
podcast.
Kingdom Cast, right?
Yep.
So it's at Kingdom Cast, cast with a K at the end there. So KING dumb cast. Make sure you guys follow them if you guys are Kansas City fans, and like we said, they're gonna be on top for a little while. At least, the way it's looking, unless the Bengals get even better, which I'm sure they will, and hopefully
the Bills.
The Bills. I don't know about the Bills, but
yeah, that's true, right? They're still a ways away, but probably the closest threat would be.
I feel like the Bills, they kind of like missed their window, and they're gonna be on the downward trajectory unless something changes. Because like the Patriots, guys, other teams just come in and pluck from your team, like, oh, we're gonna take this right here. Oh, thank you, we're gonna grab that. And if you don't have a coach that can keep this thing floating, it's all downhill. So hopefully, they stay on, they stay competitive. But I don't know, after the last couple of years, I felt like last year was their best chance, and then I thought this year they were gonna do it, and it just didn't work out at all. I see some flaws out of Josh Allen that I haven't seen in a while. And like we said, man, it's gonna be for another podcast. But make sure you guys are following Charles. Make sure you're following us too. We're at ProFan Sports on everything except for Instagram, and that's at profans_sports. Make sure you clicking that black button at the bottom of the video to subscribe. That's the best way to support us. Again, follow us on all social media platform at ProFan Sports. So until next time, man, we'll catch y'all. Peace out.
Peace. Have a good week, everyone. See y'all next week. Thanks for watching.
Right, for the ladies, happy Valentine's.
Yep, happy Valentine's Day to all the ladies out there.
For all the guys too, right? It's a day of.
And the fellas too. We can't forget about
we in this too.
Yeah, no doubt. Y'all are, can't exclude y'all. We gotta make sure we give y'all some love too. Y'all deserve it. So happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Hope y'all enjoy your